Okay, so hi, so my name's Maria Dean and I'm course leader for 3D design. And what I'm going to show you today, we're going to do a taster lesson on SketchUp and then taking a SketchUp model into Photoshop rendering. So what is SketchUp? So we use SketchUp a lot in 3D design. It's a 3D modelling program. You can design houses, you can design products, you can design buildings, and then we render them up to make them look realistic. It's quite an easy program. You can get it on a free download at home as well. And when you join Huddersfield New College, what you do, you get a site license, which is SketchUp for Schools, so you can access this from home. It gives you a little bit of information about what SketchUp is. This is the interface in terms of what comes on the screen when you log on. And if you were looking this up online, if you just put in www.sketchup.com, and then you get all the information there. So that's if you wanted to use that at home. So when you log on, you see this basic screen. So just to give you some scale of perspective and proportion, you get a little person there. You can either put it into a product template, which will be either millimetres, centimetres, into inches, or you can do it in more of an architectural size, which is more in metres. So I've gone more architectural. It's really easy, it's quite simple and quite like some of the other programs you'll be used to at GCSE, so things like 2D design, perhaps Corel Draw. All of the tools are on the top, so you've got your select, you've got your draw, you've got your shapes, and this one's quite an interesting tool. So this one is Extrude. So this is when you can take a geometric shape and pull and push that into a solid shape. So you can see here, I've drawn a rectangle down at the bottom with the rectangle tool, and then I've just used the extrusion tool and I've pushed and pulled that and taken that into a solid 3D shape. So you can produce a building really, really quickly. You've also got the feature of the paint bar at the top. That will make sure that you can add colour, you can add texture, and you can also go into something called the 3D warehouse and you can drag things in, so making things look realistic. We've also obviously got all the movement tools, the turning, the scale and the measurements. So here, this literally took 5 minutes to create. So just a set of geometric shapes that I've added on top of each other. So from this screen here, what you will see, I've just done lots of rectangles, and I've done this as a plan view to start with. So I know that they're all together, laying over each other, and then I've just extruded certain sections into this building. One of the benefits of doing this is you can see where they are, you can see where you're pulling them to, but what I would do, I would always do it as a plan view, and I'd also always do it as parallel projection and only go back into perspective once you want to look at this as a final image. So I'm just going to come out of this and I will just show you what SketchUp actually looks like. So this is one I've made earlier, bit Blue Peter style. So one we've made earlier, so we've just taken different geometric shapes. We've extruded to make some windows so it looks hollow, so it actually looks like a building. We've put some of the materials in here, so with the material bar, and I'll just show you what that's like. So for instance, if I want to select this top there, you can see it gets highlighted, and if I go to this little material bar, I've got all my materials down here, and I can have a little look and see what I want to use. So this one is the oak wood floor, which has been selected, and if I just put that on there, that then becomes the oak wood floor. So it's a very, very simple program, but effective in creating 3D models. So what we're going to do now, Sarah is going to take you through how you would take a SketchUp design, a simple SketchUp design, and take that into Photoshop and render that to look even more realistic.
Hi, I'm Sarah Grohl and I teach 3D design. I'm just taking on from Maria and I'm going to show you how we take that 3D building and put it into Photoshop. So Adobe Photoshop is a rasterizing graphic editor. We use it mainly in industry and it's leading in industry standard. We also use it for other digital artwork. So if I just show you, when you open up Photoshop, you will start to see the document editing and layout. So normally when we're doing a render, we will select an A3 size and in landscape, because you can see our building is in a landscape format. So once we've done that, we hit create. Once we created it, we then drag in the PDF. So once we've dragged in the PDF that we've taken from SketchUp, we can then start editing it on Photoshop. And I'm just going to show you some key tools on there. So as you can see, I've dragged it in, I've got my PDF ready to go, and I'm going to use my Object Select tool. So all this will do, it will identify where my building is, so we can get rid of the background on it to start creating our scene. So the first thing we will do is remove that. So we'll just delete that, and then we're left with our building. But as you can see, we've still got our windows in place. So the next thing we would technically do is just go get the magic wand tool and start selecting to remove our windows. We do this so we can have some transparency into when we're building our scene, because those windows go all the way straight through our building. So once we hit delete on those aspects, we can then have some windows. So that's how our scene is starting to look. This is now all ready for us to start bringing in assets. The next part would be if I would go grab one of my assets. For the tree, for instance, I'd literally click and drag and drop it in. So a bit of Blue Peter style again. I've done that already for you. So as you can see through the window to start it. So that's a few easy steps to creating a finished render like so. And I'll just run through those steps quickly and how that would look. So if we go back to the PowerPoint, and here's a quick time-lapse video of a render, Photoshop render going on. So they've put the building in, they've removed all the background for it, they've put in some of their scenery, they've put in the sky, they've put in a path, they're going to drop some people, and to make it realistic, they're going to put in some shadows. Then we're going to change reflection on the windows, they're going to change the colour alteration, and that's what your finished project would look like. So if I quickly run through those steps, on R1, I've removed the background, taken my windows out, I've put my sky in, then I put my grass in, I start adding background trees, and then I start putting in my windows, my path, my foreground trees, and shadows. So shadows is what really makes it look realistic. We'll put in the shadows for the tree and the building, and then we add our shadow people or our silhouette people to give sense of scale of this building. And then your final outcome would look something like this. So that's a little bit of an overview of what we do in 3D design. We look forward to welcoming you here at Huddersfield New College on our course, and you can get more details on the website.